Hello and welcome back. What we've got today is a discussion on distinguishing pain and joy. Yes, differentiating the two because we've got them confused. We quite clearly have them mixed up and confused. So, how then do we differentiate pain and joy? We trust in the guidance of our inner teacher. The end. End of discussion. I'm only partly kidding there. We do have more to say, so we'll say it, but that is, in fact, the answer to this and any other quandary that we've made. Ask your inner teacher for guidance. Your inner teacher knows what to do, and you will be told exactly what to do, what to say, and to whom. And you'll be directed in every way. Our job here is to learn to relax and trust. That's spirituality right there. In all its myriad forms in the world. And that's a lot of forms, isn't it? No matter what tradition or traditions you follow or do not follow, that is the essence of what we call the spiritual path. Learning to relax and trust our inner teacher. Now, you might not call it that. And if you're new to A Course in Miracles, or you're just checking it out, understand that this is simply one of many doors. Really, there are many doors in spirituality, which accounts for the vast number of traditions that appear here, including the world's major traditional religions and everything else. All of these doors lead to the same place. So the question is, what does the door look like? They all look differently, and even the practices look differently, but they have this at its essence, trusting our inner teacher's guidance. Learning to relax and trust, and to see things as they really are, rather than the way we've made them, which, of course, is a hot mess. There is another word that contains the word cluster. And it's that, isn't it? It's this world of pain and division and sorrow, and the fact that we have these tiny little shreds of happiness that appear to get ripped out from our hands, torn out from under us. 15 seconds later, everything's fleeting. Nothing lasts, including this. Now, this doesn't last, does it? Right? Nothing lasts in the world. It's part of the reason why you're watching this video is because you have heard the call to awaken. This is your inner teacher speaking to you. Now, you may refer to your inner teacher as whatever or whomever you like. The Holy Spirit is known by many names, even here in A Course in Miracles. The Holy Spirit is known as the voice for God. The Holy Spirit is known as the answer, a mediator. And many, many other names, including comforter, universal inspiration. There's quite a list. You may call your guide whatever you wish. or nothing at all. And in fact, you may call your inner teacher by multiple names. You may refer to your inner teacher as your guides. It does not matter. What matters is the essence, the core, the content, as we say here in A Course in Miracles. That is the same fundamentally, no matter what outward form your practice may take. So, having said that, welcome. If you're new to A Course in Miracles, something very cool and very unique about this course is that it is a self-study curriculum, not a religion, not a cult. The world does not need another one of those. It's a self-study curriculum that you undertake under the guidance of your inner teacher. The call goes out to all of us all of the time, and somewhere, somehow, whether you were consciously aware of this or not, you have heard the call and you have answered it. Thank you. You have. You've answered the call. You're watching this video here today or this evening, whatever time it is where you are. You're watching this. You're answering the call. You're interested in spiritual practice, for starters, and you're interested in this particular course in mind training. Oh, yeah, because that is what it is. That's where the action is. We're invited to follow the guidance of our inner teacher. When we follow the guidance of the ego, our sense of separation from ourselves, from our brothers, from God, when we follow the ego, we're following fear. We're choosing fear rather than joy and love as a guide. So naturally, when we choose fear as a guide, we're going to become afraid of guidance because we associate it with fear and panic and a disheveled, hot, violent mess. So we rebel against this fearful guidance and follow none at all. And we're dazed and confused. We cannot differentiate light from dark, pain from joy, life from death, as we think death is life. We think pain and sacrifice are virtuous. And there's a part of us that recognizes the folly in that, that recognizes that, well, we're lost. So we appeal to our inner teacher for help, for guidance and support. Your guide, the Holy Spirit, is trustworthy, and so are you. When we identify as individuals, as self-sustaining survival units competing for all of these little things that we deem to be scarce and limited resources, we simply get in our own way. We're refusing to recognize things as they are. Instead, we are choosing to see pain and distress, discomfort, the world itself, which is a symbol of pain and distress and discomfort, despite all of the tremendous beauty that we see here. That is symbolic of our real beauty, our self with a capital S, our limitlessness, our joy and abundance as Christ, a beautiful sunset, symbolic of our radiance as Christ. A beautiful blooming flower, symbolic of exactly the same thing. Giving someone a warm and comforting hug, same. It's symbolic of our love. So, to the extent that you've not seen the beauty that the world contains in that light, I invite you to consider that, because this world is an illusion. The physical body is an illusion. Your job is an illusion. Your home is an illusion. It's all made up. The central teaching of A Course in Miracles is there is no world. So, what does that actually even mean for you? Well, it means that you're at home in God. This spinning ball of rock is not our real home, though these units appear to inhabit it. And at this point in what we deem to be historical linear time, these units appear to be overrunning it. So take comfort in the guidance of your inner teacher today. I simply can't stress that enough. This course can't stress that enough. This is how we go about changing our mind. And the interesting thing about it is we don't do any of it. We make the decision in the present moment to follow our inner teacher instead of the ego. Yes, that's all that we do. We place our trust in our inner teacher. And, well, it does the rest. Really. We're told here at the conclusion of this section, in the last couple paragraphs, what we've seen before, that you are the will of God. You ever think of yourself that way? I invite you to do that. You are the will of God. God simply extends himself. You are the thought of God. Love extends itself. You are love. In our busy, sometimes extremely hectic day-to-day lives, it's very, very important to just take a couple of moments out, isn't it? Even if it's just 5 seconds, and sit with these powerful ideas and allow them to percolate in your mind. I invite you to do that. And then after you're done and you go back to the world of email and bills and psychodrama and people's social media feeds, then I invite you, when you think of it again, to return to those 5 seconds or so, and the idea that you're one with God and you've never left your source. Who are you? And just bring your awareness back to that. Again and again, as many times as you remember to do so. Just that. Life, in fact, can be seen as a living, breathing, waking meditation. Get distracted, bring your awareness back to the object of meditation. Get distracted again, happens. It's going to happen. Bring your awareness back to the object of meditation. The workbook lesson, Forgiveness of the Son of God, the simple statement, God is, or if you want to shorten that to even 1 syllable, just say one. And just sit quietly for a second. And then you can go back to email because it'll still be there when you get back. So all that stack of bills and the dishes and the laundry and all that glamorous stuff that we've involved ourselves in. Yeah. You are the will of God, and there's actually nothing that you need to do besides a decision right now in the present moment to follow your inner teacher. Do that, leave the rest up to him. Relax and trust. We learn to relax into our inner teacher's guidance. We learn to trust that our inner teacher is not going to cast us out on the street because we're giving up our iron fisted manipulation and control and machinations and all of these taxing, exhausting mental efforts to control reality, to control situations. Meanwhile, they just happen on their own. The weather does its own thing, and people do their own thing, no matter how much you may try to control them. They do whatever they want to do. So let's give up all of our attempts, because they are vain, they're useless, our attempts to control and manipulate all of life, and simply give control over to our inner teacher. Relax and trust. Trust that your inner teacher has your back. You'll be told what to do, and that's most likely going to include go to work if you're scheduled to work today. Yeah, pay that light bill. But you don't have to believe in the reality of any of it. Right here in the midst of this daily life, we can experience the peace of God. Where else, when else would we experience it but right now? It is fully 100% possible to experience the peace of God, to give control of all of your experience over to your inner teacher while you're engaged in a work meeting. It is. While you're doing what appears to be all of the tasks and little busy work of what passes for life. None of it is real. And giving up control over all of it is, in fact, liberating. It may seem scary as hell. And that is quite a normal feeling. So if you're listening to this and you're watching and you're thinking, what? What are you even talking about? Well, understand that when we see ourselves as individuals, as separate beings, we're following the ego. The ego is fear. So we're following fear as a guide. No wonder we're dazed and confused. No wonder we're stressed out, frightened, anxious, and just stumbling, staggering around, running into things and getting in our own way and tripping over our own feet, so to speak, and face planting a lot. No wonder when we follow fear as a guide. What if you were to do a 180 and follow love as a guide? What then? What then? I invite you to see what then. In fact, it's quite comforting and a relief. No, it may not be what you imagined when you were attempting to orchestrate, and manipulate all phenomena, all compound impermanent phenomena that appear to exist but are really nothing. Fear is going to come up. Just understand that is the ego. And you've come far enough on the path to recognize that that is a painful option. You're free to choose it. Of course you are. We're all free to run and hide. But you've come far enough now such that if you choose to run and hide, it will no longer satisfy you. You've answered the call. So going back to where you appeared to be before you answered it is no longer going to hold any lasting value for you. You're going to quickly recognize that you can't go back. And why would you want to? It's not worthy of the Son of God. Playing small is not worthy of the Son of God. And once we embark on this thing that we call the spiritual path, we come to recognize that. And it may seem scary at first, but the more you embrace it and lean into the guidance of your inner teacher, the calmer you will, in fact, become. The more loving you will become, the more trusting and relieved you will become, the more chilled out. Oh, yeah, the more chill, less anxious. We all want that, right? The more patient, more forgiving, all of that. Relax and trust. Place your entire experience under the guidance of your inner teacher. And then we simply stand aside. That's getting out of our own way. Many spiritual traditions talk about it. That's what it is. So the invitation goes out to each and every one of us to do just that today. So that's what I invite you to do today. Now, along the way, questions will arise. For sure, spirituality is about self-inquiry in the first place. So with any inquiry come questions. All questions are more than welcome here. So if you've got them, please feel welcome to type them out and leave them here. There could be people on the other side of the world whom you're highly unlikely to ever meet in person that will benefit from your asking a question. So I invite those. And the subscription button is right here in the corner. I'd love to have you join us. Go ahead and click on that red arrow and subscribe. What you'll get here is a series of videos. What we're doing is we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles. So several videos appear here each week, and we're talking about this course in particular, but understand that it is a universal self-study curriculum, so it does not make any difference what your religious or spiritual background is, what traditions you follow or do not follow. These videos are for everyone. And if you're a course student, they're for both beginning and advanced students alike. So thank you, as always, for joining me, and I will see you again very soon.